Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to have a little bit of fun with some Sizzix dyes and some other really cool products from Tim Holtz and things that you can get from scrapbook.com. I would like to say a big thank you to scrapbook.com because they sent me 3 of the new Tim Holtz Vault Halloween die sets. We're going to be using probably 1 or 2 of them today. But I just want to give them a big shout out because they did send them to me to play with, and I am much appreciative of that. We're going to be combining some older Sizzix die sets as well, like this one that you see here. This is the Funky Wreaths. This is actually the wreath that the new Vault Halloween set is modeled after. There's a bigger version of it in the new set. I just don't have that set. That's not one of the sets that I was given. This one I believe was in the spring wreath set. Also don't have that, but that's okay. It means that you can still use the things that had come out previously with the stuff that just came out recently. So you just have to kind of go through your stuff and see what you find. I'm thinking that I'm going to break out a couple of other older sets, but it depends on how this goes. We'll see what happens. I've got some ideas. I don't like to plan too much, but I did prepare a couple of things. So we're going to start with the wreaths. I already cut them out of some mixed media paper from scrapbook.com. We're going to play with these. So I'm going to move these off to the side for now because I don't need them at the moment. And I pulled out vintage photo and frayed burlap, and also old paper and crushed olive distress oxides. We're going to use the browns for the more twiggy wreath and the greens for this other swirly one. So I was thinking about just doing some ink smushing, but I think that I want to just apply some color directly to the wreath. And as you can see, I'm getting some on my glass mat anyway. But I think I'm going to apply some water and then add it in. I don't know. We're just playing. I like to do different techniques when I'm applying my ink color. So we're just going to kind of mess around a little bit. I don't really want to get frayed burlap in my ink pad, but it's a little darker than the vintage photo, so it should be okay. Let's just work with this. Okay. I'm going to grab some water. I have that in a spray bottle here. Get those colors kind of moving around and oxidizing. Now I'm spraying the wreath itself. You can see how they're starting to move. And I'm just going to pick up this color. And you can see that that's got a nice range of colors kind of happening. That looks cool. I'm going to dry this down with my heat tool, and then we'll see how it looks, and then maybe we'll dip in again. Okay, this is pretty dry at this point. There's a couple of shiny spots, but I'm going to dip this in again and just kind of get a little bit more happening. That looks pretty cool. Okay, and then I'm going to dry it up and we'll move on. All right, I'm happy with this. This is good. I gotta say, I'm really loving frayed burlap lately because it gets this cool bluish tone that comes out of it, and I just think it's really neat. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here, and we're gonna start using this on here, and then we'll pull the greens in. But this is gonna just give us kind of a nice base to get started with. We don't have to be crazy about getting full coverage because we are going to use the other colors too, but I think it's a nice way to start, especially since we've got all of this ink out already. May as well use it. Okay, I'm going to dry this and then we'll move on to the greens. Okay, there's that first layer. Now, one of the cool things about oxides, as you may know, is their ability to layer, because they're different from distress inks, which are a dye-based ink, and these have a pigment quality to them which makes them a little bit more opaque. And because of that opacity, you can really layer these colors on top of each other in a very cool way. I think I might need a little bit more old paper out here. We're just dipping. There's nothing complicated here. We're getting inky fingers, which means that we've had a creative day, and that's always my favorite kind of day to have, or one of my favorite kinds of days. Look at that. So we've got a lot of the crushed olive showing. I'm going to dry this down and then we'll add some more old paper to it. Put some more old paper here. I'm just going to ink this up some more. Yeah, this is cool. These are colors that I don't, well, vintage photo I use a lot, but old paper, crushed olive, and frayed burlap I don't use very often. Frayed burlap I'm starting to use more, but I thought that this was going to be a really nice combination. I like that. I'm happy with it. I'm going to clean this up and we'll move on. So upon looking at these two together, I feel like the twiggy one needs a little bit more depth to it. It's kind of getting lost with the other one. I'm also thinking that I might cut this so that I can open it a little bit too. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to go in with the ground espresso and just kind of tap it. One of the things I love about these pads is that they're felt. So there's a natural texture to them that I love to highlight. Foam pads are great. They definitely have their place. They're often really super juicy, and that's fine, but they're smooth. And I love the texture that a felt pad gives. See how much more texture that has now? Isn't that cool? It's going to make it really stand out. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I like it. Okay. Once again, we're going to clean this up. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to get these inks out of the way and we're going to move on. So this here is the future card base that we're going to be using. And again, the wreaths here are smaller than the vault ones that have just come out this year. So I'm trying to figure out, do I want to open this up? And I think that I do. We're going to try to kind of bend it out a little bit and see if we can increase the size just on this one. So I'm going to just gingerly cut this, and if I hate it, that's okay. We can always put something in its place, you know, where this cut line is. Just going to see if we can expand it a bit. See how much room we've gotten just from kind of bending it out a little bit? Look at that. I think that's better. And like I said, we'll just put something here so that you don't even know that it's been cut. Yeah, I think that that's good. Okay, moving on. Now that we've got that situated, I have some Kraft stock. This is the warm collection. And we've got this grungy, goldy kind of color, and I think it's really cool. And I think it's going to work with this. We're going to kind of make a mess of it and add a bunch of things and see what happens. Again, I don't really like to plan too much, you guys, so we're going to cut this down and see what we come up with. Okay, got my trimmer here. Cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4 because I like having that border around the edge so that we can do other things. I can promise you we won't be leaving it white this time. And now let's take a look at this. It's kind of a weird, grungy, golden color, and I like it. I think it's going to be good for what we're doing here. So I contemplated a couple of different things, and I think we're going to break out a set that I absolutely love that some of you might not, but I do. This is the Entomology set from Stampers Anonymous. I have used this set so many times. I just love the script writing here. I love the bugs. I just think it's such a fun set, and you know, we're kind of going with a Halloween thing here, so I think that it's appropriate. Not that bugs are necessarily Halloween, but you guys know what I mean, right? So we're going to play with this a little bit. I think that we're going to use a little bit of the script and then some bugs in the background. I think that'll be cool. Let's see how it plays out. We're going to start with Morning Mist VersaFine Clair and that scripty stamp. I'm going to move this over for a couple of minutes, and I'm not going to really go crazy with inking this perfectly because it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be. I'm not even putting this on a block. I'm just going to kind of stick it down, and what happens, happens, and that's okay. Cool. All right, that works. So now I'm done with this, and now we need some bugs. So I really like this moth, but I think I'm going to get some nocturne. No, not nocturne. I'm going to get pinecone. Pinecone VersaFine Clair. We're going to use that. Again, no block. Not super worried about how it's going to come out. Oh, that looks cool. We're just going to put this across the whole thing. That wasn't really what I was going to do. I was going to use a few bugs, but maybe we will still. We'll see. Okay, next, let's get, whoops. Let's get this guy. No, you know what? I don't use this guy often enough. We're going to get a different color of Clair ink. Let's use Fallen Leaves now. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. How fun is that? All right, I'm going to clean these stamps off, and I think we need a little something else. We're going to go back in with the text and the morning mist. I think that it's going to just finish it off. I originally wasn't planning that, but I think that it's going to work out fine. A little bit more over here. Doesn't matter if it overlaps some of the other stuff. That's fine. I like it. I think that's good. Okay. Now I have the Vault Gothic Portraits. This is one of the new releases. And you can see here, that's the name of it. I'm crazy about this set. It's so good. So I cut the Wicked and the Crow both out of scrapbook.com's black mixed media paper. So that's what these are cut out of. And I think that this looks ridiculously cool. And that K, I don't know if you can see, that's where that split is. Obviously this isn't glued down yet, but you can see that split. If I leave it like that, you're really not even going to notice it. But I'll probably hide it better. But, you know, that works out pretty well. And then the Crow, he can just kind of hang out. Oh, look at that. I mean, guys, I was planning on adding a lot more stuff, but I don't even know if we need to. I really don't. I don't think we need to do a whole lot more to this. It looks cool like that. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. Then there's this spider. But then if my mom watches this video, she's going to freak out because she doesn't like spiders. Sorry, Mom. And then I was thinking about bringing in the Vault Fright Night and maybe using the ghosts, but I don't think we need it. I really don't. I pulled out so much stuff. I have this, whoops, as it goes flying, the Funky Foliage die set. It's awesome. I love it. I was going to use some of these in the wreaths, but with the background that we have going, I like to overdo stuff. It's true, but I just don't think that we need to. And why am I showing you all of these things that we're probably not going to use? Because I always think it's important for you to understand my process. So I have a heap of stuff on the side of my desk here, all things that I was potentially going to use. And after, you know, creating what we've created so far and not having a plan, I just don't think it's necessary to kind of add all of this other stuff into the mix. So we're going to just kind of let it fly. I'm thinking I really like it like this, you guys. I really do. Okay. And we'll do, you know, more craziness another time. Right? That's kind of how I roll. So I am going to glue this down. I kind of think that it's wise. I was going to say maybe it's good to do it around that K like I had it before. But then I'm kind of forcing myself to stick it there, and I don't think I want to do that. Okay. Where's my glue? I lost my glue, you guys. Here it is. Okay. We're going to add some glue. I'm going to stick this down, and then we'll do the next wreath. So I'm going to just get the wreaths down, so you don't need to watch me do that part, and then we'll move on to the rest of the stuff. Okay, this is what we've got so far, and I think it's super rad. I'm so excited for this. Okay, so we got to glue down our crow. And then we need to worry about our card base and what kind of treatment we're going to give it, because again, I'm not leaving that card base white. He is super cool. When I was a floral designer many, many years ago, I had made a huge 36-inch wreath, and I put a crow right in the middle, and it was all mossy and weird, and it looked very reminiscent to this, with a big, like, life-size crow right in the middle. It was super cool. Anyway, I really like this. Okay, so we've got our white card base. Yeesh, that's horrendous. I'm thinking that I want to use some old paper and maybe ground espresso on it. Maybe a little frayed burlap too. Yeah, I think that that's going to be what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to start with old paper. Now this is not cardstock that I really want to get super wet, so I'm not going to like do a dip technique or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of add some color around the edge here. Use whatever you like. Okay. Got my frayed burlap now. I don't think I went heavy enough with the old paper. Let's see. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. And now we have our ground espresso. And you could use a blending brush if you want to. I just want it to be ratty looking. You know, I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be kind of messy. I think I want a little bit more of the old paper to show. And again, because these oxides have a pigment quality to them, you can layer them really well. Okay. That looks cool. Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't fold it perfectly, so I'm gonna have to trim off that edge, but that's all right. We'll do that in a minute. I am digging this, you guys. Actually, I'm gonna trim off that edge right now because it's making me a little crazy. Hold on. I can use my paper trimmer for it, but sometimes there's tape on my hand. Okay. I prefer to just use a pair of scissors. Perfect. Okay, that's gone. And we are ready to adhere this down. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, I've got my Artis glue from scrapbook.com. I kept this nozzle on it so that I had a wider tip, which is different from what the tip is from my Barely Arts glue. I like having two different tips at the ready for myself, because when I'm doing something large like this, obviously I want to have a bigger tip than when I'm doing itty bitty teeny tiny things. So, and once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to scrapbook.com. They did not ask me to make this video. I just wanted to because, you know, I was super grateful that they sent me 3 of the Vault Halloween sets from Tim Holtz and Sizzix, and I wanted to pull out some of my old stuff. And you guys, for not planning, this is better than what I had expected. I think it's really cool. I hope that it inspires you to maybe pull out some of your older Stampers Anonymous and Sizzix sets and see what you have and how you can combine them with some of the new stuff. Entomology is definitely one of my all-time favorite stamp sets in general, not just from Tim Holtz, but just in general. I just think it's so unique and cool. So go through your stuff, go through your stash, see what you have, see how you can combine it. And you can't even see that break where I opened up that back wreath, right? It's hidden. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a couple of things. Maybe you're inspired to make something like this yourself. If you are, I would love to see it. Tag me on social media and show me what you made. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Be well. Stay safe. Peace out.